Mark in the count. The swing arm now coming back as our countdown continues.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening. I am bricksomething, and I am joined today by not one, as originally planned, but two special guests today. If you've been following the updates to the thumbnails and everything, you know that I have over on the far end over there, we've got Iz. What's up, Iz? Ramirez is the Wiz.
Hey.
Welcome both to the show and also to my home. He's actually here right now. What's up, man?
Well, yeah, I'm actually broadcasting live from your kitchen. So we're together in the same place, sort of, but we're also apart. And that was because he runs a very tight ship, and he had to make sure that all the audio issues were taken care of and there wasn't any reverb or anything. But it's kind of weird how I got here, because I weaseled my way into his home and on the show because I heard that Jason Rodriguez was going to be here, and I'm Jason's biggest fan, so I couldn't miss it.
So he actually came bearing gifts, to be clear. We, as folks know who have been watching the show, is myself and a couple of other great folks got together and put together the Mythic Meetup. So I had some. There he is. Look at that, representing that shirt there. He brought me some figures that I'd forgotten to bring home, essentially, and then here we are. It worked out. So Jason in the middle, who truly is our focus today. We're going to talk about your work and some exciting things you've got going on. How are you, Jason? Oh, we lost your audio again.
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy to be here to talk about my last project. It's a great to be with the great my friend, and so kind of words that I can say for this man, my friend Israel Ramirez. And thank you to invite me to talk about my work and this project. I'm pretty excited about it. Many people are thinking that this would be files, but not these action figures. So I'm pretty happy to be here. Let's start it.
Well, welcome. Gracias por joining us today. Perdón, mi español es muy malo. Es limitado. Para it's like a little kid. Para un pequeño hijo. ¿Sí? Maybe something like that.
Yeah.
Joven?
Un niño pequeño.
Joven? Gracias.
¿Estás en Juárez?
Yeah, I'm in Juárez, Mexico.
Juárez, Mexico.
Sorry for my poor English. I don't speak pretty well, so I try.
No, you're good, and I'm sorry for my country that I'm in. But anyways, welcome, and I'm really glad to have you for a bunch of different reasons. I'm really actually super excited because I've been talking about your work. Like every now and then, your sculptural work will come up as far as different action figures and different parts you've done for customs and everything. I love your Instagram. You're always sharing stuff that is just like, oh, look at these cool custom parts. And then you started sharing some things about this new line that we're going to talk about today, and that is right up my alley. I know it's also right up Iz's alley. And that's actually one of the things that drew me to Iz and his channel, because not only did he, he really helped introduce me to Mythic Legions, but also like, I really appreciated that he was, first off, he's got the flag front and center on his channel. but also representing the Mexica stuff, the Aztec stuff that he's always kind of been pushing. I, learned about you, learned about Isra Lopez Merrada. Oh, yeah, was that right? Isra? Yeah.
Yes.
And just other folks.
He's in Houston. Yeah.
And he's in Houston. Yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started first by saying hello to everybody who is here. And thank you to everybody joining us live. Let's say hello to those folks. First off, I know you know this guy, Josh Brown of Josh Brown Customs. We'll talk about you guys collab.
Yeah, he is one of my best customers. He's been doing many schools from him. He has a website where he sells prints, and it's a nice guy. It's a nice guy. We work together. Yeah, he supports a lot my work.
Something's going on with your. Do me a favor. Is see if you can mute that and unmute it. There's starting to get a little weird buzz. Actually, on the mouse, you'll see on the bottom left. There's like a little.
The mine are unmuted.
You're good. You're fine. Is there's on the see the little mute button on StreamYard? Yeah. See if you can mute it and unmute it. See if that does anything.
I did it. I did that.
Ooh.
Did that change anything?
No, you got like a weird robot thing. Here, I'm gonna kick you out and I'm gonna bring you back in.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna kick you out of my house.
Okay.
How's that? Did that do anything?
Do I still sound like a robot?
You sure do. Do me a favor. Here, let's troubleshoot. So pause, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Okay, I'm gonna leave. Hi, everybody. Tech support.
Being Will, I am on camera.
He's all by himself.
Yeah. Well, I want to show something.
See, dude, double duty. We don't have enough interns here to run the show.
Okay.
Say something is?
Something is.
Better.
Cool.
Okay. We were saying hello to the chat. So Josh Brown of Josh Brown Customs, who I love. He's super supportive. He does great work, and his prints of your stuff are beautiful. We'll take a look at some of that. Solo Sinner, hello to you, sir. Hope everything's good where you are. Dora Laxon, thank you for bringing this up. I did not know about this, and I saw it in the chat as we were prepping, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Mr. Ryan Clark, hello. Good to see you. Ray Paz is also aware of the passing of Peter David, and we will definitely talk about just a little moment to look at his stuff. I'll come back to that. Larry's Geeky World is here. Hello. We are doing well. This is fun. I got a buddy here, live in real life. Thanos is here. Hello, sir. Frankie Rivera, let's go. Ray Black is here. NYC Figure Fanatic, what's up? You're to the East Coast. Speaking of, what's up, Wholesome Warlock? Hello, good to see you. You got a haha. Oh, there you go. Look.
Oh,
Isra. Tocayo.
¿Cómo estás?
Hola,
Hey,
what's going on? Good to see you. I was happy to see him at Legion's Con in November too. I've been following his work for a long time. Again, thanks to the guy way over there and over there. And it was great to meet him briefly at the show. Yes, see, you got it. Go to the kitchen. That feels... Anyways. Charlie Squared, hello, sir. How are you? Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess is here. Yeah, you had a weird robot voice. Let's see.
Thanks.
This is probably when I apologize to the United States of America. Raceland is here, yo. And hey, he's calling you the master. El maestro.
The maestro.
Your master. Noble Bear Customs. Hello.
Noble. Hey. It's one of my folks.
Yeah. Speaking of, again, one of the so many talented people in this community. Yeah. I love his work. And I've bought some things from him.
Anthony Velez.
He is one of my best friends in the community.
Thank you very much, Allison, for the super chat. $2 to welcome you all. Welcome Jasmine. Welcome Jason and his I can't read.
Well, thank you, Allison.
You are appreciated by folks. Damon Williams, hello, sir. Nice to put a face with the name. I don't know. Yeah,
to me,
that's a name you know. Yes.
I don't put many photos by myself.
Yeah, no, he's good now. I think I brought him back to the light side. He's Anakin once again.
Dark Vader.
America for you. Hey, it's Rob Zamora. What's going on, Rob? Good to see you. Mark R is here. Sath Amateur Hour is here as well. Another amazing, talented customizer, Arthas Zoran, is in the house. Hello, Arthas. Anthony Velez. Hello. Jason rocks. Gabriel says, happy Sunday, everyone. Huff the Basher is here. Hello. And that was not it. You were about to be late. So you, Ronald, go sit in the corner. You know what you did. Hello. Okay. The Collection Nexus is in the house. Let's talk really quickly about your work again. Folks know he's been here, as Iz has pointed out to me before we started. No, make Jason go first. He's the star. But it is good to note. He said that he was your number one fan, and because you guys have gone, you go back a little bit. You've been working together, so we'll talk about that after we maybe just take a quick look at what you've got going on, just over on Instagram. If you all have not, you should definitely be following this guy here. And so this is your Jason Demon Customs and Designs. Before we get started, why Demon? Are you part
why
Demon?
Well, that's a pretty funny story. Isra say that I sculpt like a possessive man. As fast as Demon.
He's so prolific. He's so prolific that he must be possessed.
Got it.
Yeah,
and you are.
Thanks,
Can I start there? How long have you been doing sculpting? Either, I don't know if you start traditional or did you start right with the digital?
That's pretty weird. I started making custom figures about 14 years ago, using a epoxy putty and painting and that stuff. Then I start to watch videos from the 3D printers, and that time the first print that I see was the PLA, that with the machine starts to with the plastic. Then filament. That's right. So I interesting to make some action figures by myself, and that start. I know that's the way that I start to know about ZBrush and the digital sculpt and the files and that stuff, and that's how I started in this work.
You taught yourself ZBrush, right, during COVID?
Yeah, I learned by myself.
Pretty amazing.
I never studied about the 3D sculpt or digital sculpt. All that I made by myself. Experiment. Many people on the Cabal group helped me to get the measurements. People like Anthony Velez, Chris Faraone, many people that now they are my friends, my folks. They helped me to get the measurements. I learned all by myself to this point when I start to make action figures for many factories from China, from people from Russia. I even made a lot of works, art toys, action figures, tools, and that stuff.
And so now, I know you design parts like we mentioned earlier. You're designing parts that are being sold, whether through Noble Bear, right, as
Yeah,
well as here through Josh Brown Customs. Is that right?
yeah, that's right. I made sets for action figures, but
Uh huh.
mostly Myth Legends. I have many customers who gets that sales. I sell limited limited version for the figure or the set,
Hmm.
and they buy it and sell prints. So that's my principal business on my Instagram. So
Gotcha.
I made commission for everyone who needs any project on 3D like action figures or mask or what the people need. I'm open to make commissions to make the art toys and that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's one of your heads there, right there,
I was
isn't
Yeah,
it?
gonna say, is this one of yours on
yeah,
Noble Bear?
yeah. That was exclusive for Noble Bear.
Got it. And am I right, that so yeah, the shop is no longer around. Is that right for Noble
Yeah,
Bear? That's right.
he
It's been a while.
he
I
stopped
remember.
now. He
That's
will
right. That's
back,
right.
but not no. I don't
Okay.
know.
And then so right now, people, if they wanted some of your work, they could come over to say Josh Brown Customs, and I know that he's got a bunch of stuff here, and I think I
He
can search by your
he
name.
has a lot of
There it
stuff of
is.
mine. But
Uh-huh.
if you have a sprint, you can get to Josh Brown
Hmm.
Till to Dust Studio from my friend Paris
Oh,
Escandon.
that's still
He
done.
Dusk,
can
Yes, that's
dusk,
right.
he
That's
sells
still
dusk till
done.
dawn. Dusk till
yeah.
Yep,
dawn.
I got you.
Till to
That's
dusk.
right.
Yeah, I have many friends who sells the same the print.
Yeah.
And if anybody needs the files to print by herself, he can send me a DM to my Instagram.
Okay, they can reach you directly, and you guys can kind of work
Yeah,
it out that way, huh?
yeah,
Okay, so you've got your stuff right now actively here on Dust Till Dawn and again on Josh Brown, and I'll put that link in
yeah,
the chat for folks. And these right here are all your sculpts that are tagged at least with your name. So I'm assuming Josh is like super organized and
yeah,
meticulous. So this is all the stuff that you've done. A lot of these I'm sure people have been seeing. Like I know this guy was featured right before Legion's Con. People were really interested in that. I've got an evil goat through Josh, and kind of cool to see all your work. I think you've got looks
yeah.
like a lot of different sculpts here. Um,
For a while,
so you are a demon.
he was
Yeah.
putting out I don't know if it was like a sculpt a day or something.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I lost the number. I think I
Really?
have been made more than 1,000. I don't know.
Right, and just getting better and better all the time.
Yeah, thanks. I'm
Doing
trying.
amazing stuff.
Yeah, it's funny. At Legion's Con, Josh shared a bunch of things that he thought would be good for, because I was at the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom table.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking through this list right now. I was like, oh, these were all done by you.
Yeah,
all the ones that he shared with me in particular were done through you. I love all this stuff. This familiar vengeful head here looks really cool. And I know more recently you've been doing I saw here, this is a relatively new one that was shared that Josh was showing off, was this set that is now sold out at the moment. Can you tell us about this? Is this just something that you've has been stuck in your head since what was that, the 90s, that you wanted to get out there?
yeah,
Or?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s kid, so almost all of my influence in my sculpts are from movies from the 90s, cartoons and that stuff. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Dogs Hunt, Master of the Universe is 80s, but that I watch a lot for Haynes.
Yep.
Yeah, I all of the 90 is my years. So I get put that in on my work. As you can see, for this set, I use only the arc, the head scoop, and the house for the bag, the little bag that keep
The
the
quiver.
yeah.
¿Cómo se dice quiver en español?
Sería.
¿Sería?
Oh no. Oh,
Teach me.
let me.
You
let
know,
me see.
I actually know how to say quiver in Spanish.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, Jason. Don't worry about it. Probably not a word that I'll need.
Se llama kurkaj. Kurkaj. We call
Kurkaj?
some like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kurkaj, is that náhuatl?
Nahuatl?
Or es español o náhuatl? Kurkaj.
No, es español. Creo que es español.
Español. Ah, okay.
Because I mean, there are a lot of words that are from Nahuatl that are incorporated
right.
into Spanish. So
Yeah, I can imagine me walking around, you know, DF, being like, "Hey, ¿cómo estás? ¿Dónde está el kurkaj?" No, anyway. But this is amazing. I actually am not a big small soldiers guy, so I don't know. It's been a long time since it came out that I've seen it, so I haven't like gone back to rewatch. Was this? Did it look exactly like this, or did you do your own thing?
Looks the part of the head, the school,
Yep.
the
Yep, right here, the arrow.
Exactly. Only the arrow that looks exactly to use the part of the wrist that it was designed by me.
So the wrist, it's a wrist mounted crossbow then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Nice. That's great. What a great piece. Okay. And so all of this again is usually available at Josh Brown Customs. And knowing Josh, I'm assuming that'll be replenished. Josh, let us know, you're in the chat, if that's true or if they're just asked out basically. But this is great stuff.
Also, we named the part where when you put the arrows, we say carcaj.
Carcaj.
Yeah, that's the real name.
Got it. Quiver, carcaj.
I
love this. Yeah. This piece is gorgeous too. Again, when you're creating creatures, so this is different. So the other one was clearly inspired by small soldiers. When you're doing things like this, are you using what are you looking at or sketching? Or how do you start?
When I try to make my quest on Pinterest, on Google, from the kind of character that I have on mind. So when I look some like I have on mind, I mix things to make a new character. It's hard. Maybe sometimes I have troubles with some noise or to make a noise and so I start make my quest and look some like that I like and I used to make it. So
like you look at pictures for reference on certain parts.
To use as reference to make many parts.
This one is gorgeous, great for the Savage Crucible Ninians. Looks really good.
That's so good. What's hard to the hardest part to make that type of parts is that fit in the figures properly. Because you can make a lot of pre-test the print test of each part, each piece.
Yeah.
So it's the hardest part of design that.
Yep. Design it, make sure it fits, all of that. And so shout out this.
If you can see, this particular piece was designed to fit on Savage Crucible, and I made the version to fit on the Mythic Legends too. And another pieces from that set from animals was designed to fit on Animals from the Kingdom too.
Yep, I love. I'm folks know that I help out with Animal Wars in the Kingdom and Spiro, and so I'm glad to see you designing parts that work with that as well. People love it. You know, Ryan's saying that the detail is excellent, and Josh is letting us know that there will be more Gorgons coming. So just keep an eye out on the site.
I was I made some requests with my followers. So what kind of sets they want to see? Many people talks about more from small soldiers sets. The Gorgonites are a classic for everyone. So I will make some. I have mine coming soon.
So then, I love when people also kind of, do the homages, but also like almost a different style, right? The cartoon, what is it, Gizmo Duck? DuckTales is a very different art style from what Four Horsemen does with their bodies. But I like how you sort of managed to find that balance with the helmet and the details and everything. It's good. Very cool. And I meant to say this, but shout out to, this is actually painted by a dude whose work I love too, Steam Powered Mum. So there are painted versions on Josh's site if you'd like those as well as the the raw resin. So okay. Before we go too much, I'll share on Dust Till Dawn. I've seen your work there. I shared that I've been really into the idea of Mexica or Aztec sort of inspired parts and characters on my toy shelf. And so knowing that there are customizers that are making these parts that you can then, put on your Mythic Legions has been great. So I'm very familiar with all the pieces here on Dusk Till Dawn that you've done. I don't think that I put two and two together in terms of realizing that they were your work at the time.
Okay.
But there's a lot of great stuff here. If you really want to take a look at that, full sets, like you're doing full head, gauntlets and all sorts of weapons as well. Yeah.
Some of the last one from Dar's website that are from other sculptor, but he has some many of mine. Also, he has a Mictlantecutli exclusive set from mine I made by 5 years ago from him, from Dust Till Dawn. And also Paris Escandan from Dust Till Dawn studio, he helped me to make the print test for the Rise of the Fifth Sun. He made the prints from the body.
Cool. So that's your line that we're gonna talk about today. But so you've been doing these custom parts, and it sounds like, as folks know, you're moving into designing your own figures that we're going to be getting soon, the Rise of the Fifth Sun. So of the ones that I'm showing here, are these yours?
Yeah, all
got it.
Are mine.
Yes. So before we get too far with this, we've got Iz here today, and Iz, I know you were telling me you're his #1 fan and that you've worked with his parts and worked with him before to create some figures. And he came bearing gifts today. I wish they were gifts. He's not leaving them, but he came with stuff to show. So can you give us
show
a
and
sense
tell?
Of what are these? Tell us a little bit more about how you all met, and then sort of go through some of the work that you have with you.
All right. Well, just like anybody else, I was really amazed by, Jason sculpting and creating like a man possessed. And so I was like, who's doing all this great stuff? Because, I've been collecting Mexican action figures and, Mexican American characters from movies and all that for a long time. And for a long time, there wasn't a lot of representation. So I remember back in the day, the only action figures you can get of either Mexicans or Mexican Americans would be like, the wrestling figures, like the Lucha Libre guys, like Santo and stuff like that. So I started collecting basically every figure made by a Mexican or Mexican American artist, every line that had, a Mexican featured on a Mexican American actor, somebody who had been immortalized in plastic in some way, like Edwards James Olmos, when he was Captain Adama, they made an action figure so I could collect his stuff. Guillermo del Toro, whenever he had a movie and he had all these creatures in it, I'd collect his figures. But little by little, you start to get more representation. But the thing about Jason is he's like the real deal. Like he's a real Mexican from Mexico.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
I'm a watered down Mexican from the U.S. Born and raised in here.
Okay.
What?
Sorry, I can't help it. Sorry,
He's authentically Mexican. That's what I'm saying.
I'm a history teacher. I was born in Los Angeles, de Califas de Aslan. So I was born in California, Los Angeles. My parents came here from the Philippines. We have a common culture in that we were both conquered by the same Spaniards, right? But I will say, if you live in California, this is as much your place as, like, let's be clear, right?
Yeah,
California. So I'm just saying. Don't sell yourself short. You got
a lot of us, right? A lot of us didn't cross the border, like you say. The border crossed us, right?
100%.
So Arizona, Texas, California, places, Washington, Oregon,
New
Mexico, were Mexico first. But he's authentically Mexican from south of the border.
Okay.
Right. And so he's really tied into, that culture, really proud of it. And he puts out some amazing stuff. So that's why, I became really enamored with it. And I started trying to collect his stuff. And then I reached out to him at one point. I said, let's collaborate on a figure. And he was really a pleasure to work with. And we came up with this guy, which we called it the Sons of Quetzalcoatl set. This one is on a Mythic Legions buck. Are you going to embiggen me? Can you embiggen me?
I would, but I don't think it's going to get much bigger than. Yeah, I think you've pretty much in this unit. It's pretty much the same size.
So what, we worked on it. We went back and forth. He sculpted a couple of heads. This one has a human face, but there was also another one with a skull face. Then he did the pauldrons, which are basically the Quetzalcoatl head. It. So very, very cool. He did this weapon, and you can pronounce that for me.
Nahuatl.
Yes, he's been practicing that. That's hard for me to say. He did a hand.
That one is an older one. That was actually sculpted by Jason, right?
That's Jason, all the way. And the feet, and all the little details. And he actually did a Quetzalcoatl shield for him, which somehow I forgot to bring. But that was very, very cool. So this was a dream for me to just work with an artist of his caliber to put something like this out, right? But it is, a Mythic Legions body with the parts that I had painted by Nikki Nicole Cheney. And she's also of Mexican origin, so at least half Mexican. And she did that for me, and so I thought it was very, very cool. Jason also did the torso on this with this really cool, level of detail there.
Can you get it up a little closer to the camera just so we get a closer look at that? But yeah, nice. That part right there it's actually connected to the torso, right? It's not a separate piece. Yeah.
The whole torso was sculpted by Jason.
Beautiful. And then you mentioned the Quetzalcoatl, the pauldrons.
Quetzalcoatl pauldrons.
For those folks who maybe aren't familiar with that, it's a giant flying serpent god, one of the sons that we'll talk about in a little bit.
And then he did these bracers are there, right? And then you could see that little Quetzalcoatl head there on the mahuero, which is the Aztec sword. And I just told Nikki, just paint it however you want to paint it. So that's what she did
so good.
What she came up with. And I actually made the cape from a pair of panties that I bought at Target.
I wish I was there for that transaction to see.
Yeah, it was a little weird to see like a elderly man come buying some panties, but the
on top of that,
the
did
print,
you go? No,
the print
wait,
was
hold
right,
on.
right
Yeah, I was
sized.
gonna say, did you go like, no, you don't understand. This is for my action figure to
No
help make it that
apology.
much better.
No apology, just straight up. I think the brand was Exhilaration, right?
Okay. Yep. House brand.
The house brand.
Can you
And I
show the
just-
hand? As Anthony pointed out, that the heart.
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
is
the
so
heart hand.
badass.
There you go.
So it's built in there. And I'm curious, and we can talk later after, so I can take a look. But what's the peg? Jason? There's no articulation, right? Just a peg that goes straight.
No,
in.
just the peg. Yeah, to hold on.
That's awesome.
Because we talked about making hands and using like soft resin and seeing if we could do that, but it's hard to make hands that are soft enough so that they can grip things. So he just made this hand with the heart permanently gripped there.
Yeah,
so that,
yeah.
And so then if you want, you can pop out that hand and use another hand. So this is our Sons of Quetzalcoatl set that we, I think exclusively it was offered with Noble Bear Customs and also at Dusk Till Dawn. And I believe if they're out of these, they should make some more so that people can go and get it. And I really love the fact that once this set got out there, it just went into the world and customizers just, started putting out their versions. And I got to see things that I never thought I would see. Like this guy here that I picked up at Legion's Con. This was made by Rich Kais. And it's the Sons of Quetzalcoatl, but with the skull face. And very sort of Skeletor colors to it, right? And he used the Sons of Quetzalcoatl set and then another set that Jason had done, a Tlaloc set to make this guy.
Yeah, those I am all the
details.
Again,
yeah,
very familiar with because I'd see those over here on
there's the Quetzalcoatl bundle.
Yes.
All right.
Gorgeous stuff.
So that you can see the shield there, and if you want to buy one, hit them up. And shipping is surprisingly inexpensive from Canada. That's what I found out when I got my set because I had to order it just like everybody else.
So is this the actual skull head that is on that figure?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
You can give folks just a quick look at that.
I think so. Maybe is it a different one?
No, it looks. Yeah,
no,
it looks
it's a different camera.
Yeah. So this was Rich Kai's creation, and I really loved it. So I bought it from him at Legion's Con, and
love it.
I have, he's like my version of Skeletor. You can see like the Tlaloc, which is like the rain clouds that Jason incorporated into the loincloth area, and then the Tlaloc heads, right? And he just did an amazing job also creating the soft goods and painting the details. So thanks to Rich Kais for that. And then let me show you another set that Jason put out. It's a Tlaloc set. First, let's take a look at this.
Yeah, so
awesome shield that look at the detail on there as well. And I love how he incorporates like waves, clouds, and sort of traditional Aztec elements from the Aztec calendar. And then the head is very reminiscent of, what you see in the temples and the portrayal of that fanged god that is not only Tlaloc in Mexico, but it's in a lot of the Mesoamerican countries. You'll see that sort of fanged deity, so it inspires awe. And that's just the shield that Jason made. That shield was painted by Frank Stone, who's a local customizer out of Stockton, California. And he also painted this figure. Yep.
Again, one of those many places where our peoples have found themselves in the
yes,
Stockton, hella Pinoys, hella Chicanos, Mexicans, and the heart of the all Central California with the farm workers movement. Our roots run deep and they intertwine. But our roots
do run deep, and we were the first to have like a trans-Pacific trade route where
I'm straight.
they would send galleons back and forth between the Philippines and Mexico. So our cultures are really, really intertwined in that way.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And here's that. So that that Tlaloc bundle
Tlaloc.
is still
Tlaloc.
available at Dasseldan, folks. So I put that in the chat for the folks live, and I'll put that again on the links that I do after every episode. But you're sort of seeing the URL running down at the bottom of the screen and in that little QR code in the bottom right hand corner. But so back to you is what else we got going on that
I just
thing?
want to show off some more details because he's chock full of detail. So like I said, this was painted by Frank Stone.
Oh, gorgeous.
And he just went in there and he did a beautiful job. He added some blue metallics. Again, the gauntlets by Jason with a lot of nice touches. I love these like waves to it. And then the waist piece, the loincloth. Oops. And it has the shooting fist feature.
Oh yeah, like a Shogun Warrior back in the day. Cool.
So that's the shooting fist,
the
and then
the intersection of pop culture happening there. That's cool.
Right. So I showed you the shooting fist feature, and then the boots and the hands. No, actually, this doesn't have a shooting fist. It's just that it is a custom, right? Which is what is so exciting about the fact that Jason is going to give us like real factory produced figures from China so that they won't, pop apart, and you can just play with them to your heart's content because they'll be articulated and they'll be plastic, and you don't have to pay somebody a couple $100 to paint something up for you like I did for some of these figures. You just have which is basically a dream come true, something I've been waiting for, a line that's that like this, right? So when I heard Jason was going to do this Fifth Son project, I got really, really excited.
Oh yeah, me too, friend. Because so as I've shared, born and raised in LA, it's a confusing thing. I will just say for me, I'll speak for myself, and the many people who I've known said the same thing. It's a confusing thing to grow up here to the sons of immigrants. My family came to the United States in 1970, my dad first, and then brought the fam here. I was born and raised in LA, and LA, as I've sort of established, like LA has deep roots. Like it was Mexico, and in the many ways that Chicano roots are still there. I grew up in Downey, California. And we're Filipino, so we're Catholic. And guess who else is Catholic? If you went to that parish back in the day, it was me, a bunch of folks from Latin America, but mainly Mexicans, and a bunch of Irish kids. And so I remember learning a lot about Indigenous America, particularly drawn to what was happening in Mexico. And I remember like one of my first sort of like action figure dio kind of customizing thing, not really, was this project that I had to do in the 5th grade, and I chose the Aztecs as the thing that I studied, and built a little like, Tenochtitlan, like with the like causeways that came out. My brother did the temple in the middle. Like, anyways, fast forward, that's where my wife and I went on our honeymoon. We visited DF, and man, the Mexica stuff, the Aztec stuff, I was telling Jason, where we're messaging back and forth, like, there was something that I was always a little bit, both impressed by and a little bit jealous of, in that, the folks here still speak. So Mexicans still retain their language and their culture more so than we did. Like my family was not interested necessarily in growing up and teaching us their tongue. Now, granted, it was Spanish, not say Nahuatl or like the indigenous languages, but still, like, I found that Mexicans and Chicanos in LA that I grew up around in Downey, like, were very proud to be Mexican. We're proud of their heritage, and still even though they, spoke Spanish, but like everywhere in their homes, there was like Aztec things to like learn about. And so at a certain point in my life, I wanted to learn about, our indigenous stuff. And it was a little bit more challenging, and we'll get there. You guys are going to have fifth son. I'm going to get some indigenous Pinoy figures at some point. But for now, I'm impressed by the work that you're doing, and I'm really excited that you're bringing this stuff forward. I think I understand what Iz is saying. Like there's a longing to see this stuff right next to our He-Man and right next to our, right next to our Mythic Legions.
Yeah.
Like, and also like just on a pure, simple level, this stuff is badass. Like everything that you just saw, the weapons, like it's just really cool. Cool things like the martial culture, the fighting culture. Like there's a lot there, but also so there's that. And so now you're doing this Rise of the Fifth Son line, which I definitely want to talk about. But if we can, just take say 5-ish minutes. Normally for the show, I like to talk about with my guests some random things that are coming out and happening kind of in nerd culture. Just take a quick detour and look at some stuff. And I want to recognize, so this is a bit of a pivot, but if y'all will indulge me, earlier Dora Laxon brought up, unfortunately, the passing of Peter David, one of comics' greatest writers, as he says. Absolutely zero BS when it came to him either. And so Peter David, for those who aren't familiar, was one of the main things that I was familiar with him growing up was like the late 80s. He did a long run on Incredible Hulk. So when I was into the X-Men and reading Chris Claremont, and you'd go over and look at the Incredible Hulk stuff, it was Peter David running that for like at least 10 years. I don't remember exactly how long. So I do want to acknowledge folks who put a lot of their life and their creativity into this stuff. You were asking me, before we got on, was he the original gray guy? He was when Incredible Hulk turned gray again in the 80s. That was him. That was Joe Fixit when he was like a little smarter. Right. And that was Peter David's work. Apparently he died yesterday. I actually didn't know about it until just before we started. So thank you so much, Dora Laxon, for bringing that up. Let me show you real quick. So he started here with this run on 331, and one of the most valuable, more recent Incredible Hulk issues is this one, and I have it. Is probably above your head in the crawl space up there with the rest of my long boxes is this beautiful Incredible Hulk 340, probably being punished by the heat. But fantastic issue with
he hit it up there when he knew I was coming, because he didn't want me casing the joint.
Yeah, no,
I gotta have the valuables.
Yeah, these are like
iconic.
Asking.
These are iconic figures. I mean, iconic comics. Just takes me back looking at those covers. Yeah, I relate to Hulk because I am also a creature driven by rage. So
yes, and when he gets angry, he starts to get a little wild. So real quickly, I just wanted to say, and to acknowledge that, and thank you again, Dora Laxon and Ray, for bringing that up before we got started. Dora Laxon was saying that he signed one of his Hulk comics back in '98 when he saw him at a convention. We sat outside the convention room after it was over and talked for over an hour. Wow. It's awesome to be able to meet the folks that, that do things that you're a huge fan of. I loved his Hulk run way back when as well. So we lost another one. Rest in peace and power. Folks ever wonder why I do that? It's just a thing in my community, and I say that broadly. Whenever someone passes or in life, we say, peace and power. Like, so go. So there's that. Jason, were you a big Incredible Hulk guy?
No, yeah, I have been a lot of his work. Actually, more of that covers are from my favorite Hulk. Mm-hmm. I made some head sculpt from Hulk, from Grey Hulk, based on his work.
On his work, Yeah, he had a distinct look. But
Yeah.
it wasn't he was, it was probably this guy named
Yeah.
I don't know if Todd McFarlane,
Yeah.
who worked with
Like
Peter
Todd
David.
Farley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he had a very distinct look once he became Joe Fixit, and he's a smart Hulk, and but yes. Anyways, rest in peace and power. Awkward transition, but it's what I like to do. This one, shout out to Thanos Copter for bringing this up to me before the show. He said, "Hey, this is going to be ending soon. There's 3 more days to go on this. I haven't seen a ton of people talk about it. I feel like I saw it on Toymigos being mentioned. If folks are familiar with Oddworld, it was a video game series. I want to say in like the late 90s, probably more 2000s. Yeah. So this is a Kickstarter to make officially licensed 5-inch articulated figure of Abe from Oddworld. You can kind of see him here, and I don't know. It's interesting because when I've talked to people about your work, Jason, and about how you're trying to do a Kickstarter, a lot of folks are like, "Ooh, it's a challenging time to do a Kickstarter for figures." And
Oh.
but I will say, here's an example of one that clearly is successful. They were looking to do 18,960, and they've gotten 5 times that, or a little more than that, at 117,000. So clearly, it's a different project. It's based on somebody else's IP. So maybe there's a bunch of folks out there who have been looking for their Abe figure that are excited to finally get one. But I think it also shows, I think people are still willing to support something if they're into it. And I suspect, I think Iz has already said he's going to put like, what, 25,000, I think is that what you said, to back Jason's campaign. And I'll put about, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred. But
Wow.
all that to say is I think it's all about the property. It's all about the buildup, and I think you're going to find that there's a lot of people who've been waiting for these kinds of action figures that you're doing, Jason.
Yeah, it looks very good. So
Yeah.
I don't see, I don't ever seen the video from the articulations. Look, I like to see the action figures. I studied the action figures, so I can see the double joint on the knees and the movements of the waist and head. Looks pretty cool. I be surprised about he rise enough money to a lot money for that figure. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I hope my project can be successful like him. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, that's the hope. So 3 more days, if that's a thing that at all interests you, if you're a big Oddworld player. So that is available. But again, in addition to that, I really ultimately want to talk about this, because I do think there's still space. I know we've been in this time where we're seeing all sorts of great indie creators like yourself. You already mentioned Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, who started off their 6-inch, 7-inch figures with a very successful Kickstarter. We've been talking about Mythic Legions, which like really in many ways kicked off this whole game of like coming with a brand new line via Kickstarter, multiple Kickstarters, and then we all know where they're at now. So it's very much a thing. And I'm here to see, like, part of the reason I asked you to do this, because I know it's real early. I know you're still building, but I'm excited by what you're doing, and I would just like, hey, come on, let's talk about it. So, right off the bat, do you have you want to tell people about like how soon you're thinking about doing the Kickstarter? What's your sort of thinking about that?
Okay, well, I'm on the first phase of the project. I'm working on the sculpt of the characters, the main characters for the first wave. At this point, I'm working on if you can see the first picture, The last picture from my the last
at
sorry
the very top.
the last
This one?
was the fourth character.
Oh.
For he is based. His name is Huitzilopochtli.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he is the war god, the god of war from the Mexica culture. A little lesson about the Aztec history. The Aztec name was recently named. The real name from the Aztec is Mexica.
Yep.
Yeah. The Aztec is a word that how I can say historiador, arqueólogo.
Like the archaeologists and the historians. They coined that term.
He was from USA. I can't remember his name now, but he used first time the word Aztecs to referring to the Mexica people.
Yeah.
This project I'm trying to bring to the people some of the historical mythology from the Mexica people, but mixing with fan fiction.
Yeah, but so you're taking like the historic lore and mixing it with a little bit of the fantasy elements, which is really cool. And the fact that I'll just sorry to interrupt, but that you broke down. So I've explained to people, oh yeah, that's Mexica, and they look at me like they don't understand that, which I get. And then when I say, Aztec, but I referred to it earlier. I was born in, right? I said Los Angeles Califas de Aztlán, and that's where that name came from, right? Aztlán is this notion, the original homeland. And so the archaeologist, I forget his name. I'm trying to remember because I know it's named after, in California, there's stuff named after, that's how I used to remember it. But anyway, it's basically took the people of Aztlán and came up with the term as Aztec, right? But you're saying Mexica. So I appreciate, even from the beginning, you're educating us on this. I can't help it. I'm a teacher, but yes. Okay. Sorry. So keep going. You were saying.
Okay. The name was, I chose that name because that is the base of all the history of the Mexicas. The rise of the fifth sun are the fifth sun represents the new era. The history are in five eras. The first one is the first sun was governed by Tezcatlipoca, the first god.
Yeah.
Then we come on the second era that was governed by Quetzalcoatl. Then the fourth era was governed by Tlaloc. And on the fourth era was governed by Coaixtlique, but she was a female god. For my history, I changed it for Huitzilopochtli because mainly is a reason for money because
the buck, body.
The body, yeah. I will use will made a male body to use for the first wave because be honestly it's a hard time to start with a new toy line because we know what are happening on the US, so we can reduce the cost, but they and change a little bit history of that. But on the future, if we can work with that, we will introduce female bodies too.
Because the tooling is the biggest cost you're looking at in action figure production, and that's very, very expensive. So if you can just make a male buck and you can make 4 figures out of that, then you get more bang for the buck, so to speak. If you have to tool a female and a male, that's going to cost you twice as much to do that. So and I've seen he's actually not just a talented artist, but he's a good writer, and he's written some really compelling, engaging stuff. So I was excited to get a sneak peek at that as well, because I think the story, the designs are just really, really amazing, and we haven't seen anything like this before.
Yeah, and so this is what you're referring to, and I won't share the whole thing. It is long, but I know one of the questions, was about sort of the story. Like Justin Mohan was asking, how are you doing your research for the characters for them to be historically accurate? And I know you heard it, Justin, but just as you heard, like he's for a bunch of different reasons, it's a mix of both the historic as well as the fantasy. And you already heard one of the real practical, unfortunate reasons why he had to make a big change in, was it the fourth son? Or the third son? The fourth son.
The fourth son.
Yeah. Because because of body type, and the actual fourth son is feminine or female, and you made that switch. But I will just share, again, was this something that you were trying to? I'm not going to read it, but did you not want it shown at all, or are you?
No problem. You can show all.
Okay, so I'll just sort of scroll through it so that maybe on the replay people can go through and read it while we talk. But you were starting to mention like that. If we could go back a little, essentially the name the fifth son is in reference to the idea or the belief that we've moved through different stages and different realities according to the Mexica lore, and that each one is there's a different ruling deity or god who is in charge of that era. There's the first son, the second son, on and on, until we get to the fifth son, right? And so, and I love how you've ended with that. And I also have something that is a sort of a shorter version for maybe people to just sort of, we can get the gist of later. But can we skip to the end? And can you tell us a little bit about the fifth? So the first four are different deities that, have conflict and go through, and they have their rise and they have their fall, which is very much a Mexica thing around cycles, right? Cycles of birth and death and rebirth. What happens with the fifth son, and why the rise of the fifth son? Because that's a fun, interesting story piece.
Okay. Well, on the fifth son, historical, was like a competition between two gods. They was the first four sons gods was meeting on the Tenochtitlan pyramid, and they talk about who will be the fifth son, and two gods they say that want to be the fifth son. Then they put him a proof to make a sacrifice. One of them jumped to the fire on the center, but he dubbed about jump to the fire. So the most how I can say humilde,
humble,
he jumped to the fire and burned his body and burned the fifth son. And then the other one jumped to the fire when he say that he transformed in the fifth son, and then he transformed on the moon, and then they was the fifth son. But on the fiction, I changed it because we need I use a lore to bring a history to these characters fight for. So I decided to open to the humanity being the next fifth son, before a salvage war between the humans and the gods.
Nice. So that's the setup for your line, right? Well, this is
Yeah.
the fifth son. The gods have had their time, and there was a great battle. And in this new stage, as it says here in the end of your sort of quick lore breakdown, a new spark ignited in the heart of time. A fifth son began to be born, but this time it would not be a god who ruled it, but humanity itself.
Yeah.
And this line that we're going to get, this adventure that you're going to take us on, is telling the story of what happened. Yeah, in that fifth son. Yeah.
And yeah, to make these characters, I use the accuracy on the codex.
Okay. Yeah.
People was asking about how I inspired to make the each character. So
Yep.
I read the codex to take the more accuracy to each character. And before the rise of the fifth son, I base it more on a fan fiction, but the
Okay.
base on this is from the codex.
Gotcha. So you've broken it down from the codex as your sort of historical basis. There's a little bit of the fiction, as you said, a fan fiction. When you say the fan fiction, was there a particular story by somebody else, or was that something that you were working on?
It's mine. All
something
mine.
you
I'm
worked on.
from Israel. Yeah.
And Isra,
Yeah,
that's great.
Israel, yeah.
This guy, and he broke down, if someone's interested in Aztec, a good novel to introduce you to is called Aztec by Gary Jennings.
That's a great read.
And I don't know why but you're doing the robot thing again, but it's okay. I can hear you. It's fine. It's probably
against robots.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you. Breaking.
Understand me?
I can hear and understand you, and you sound like a robot, like you said. But so I like that, and
and this is still a work in progress because what you've shown is pre-edit. So
yes,
as you know, I've edited the bios for Legions for a while, or in the early days of your
yeah, I'll break that down. I'm gonna.
So I'm doing the same with Jason, and we're gonna get this edited and whipped into shape.
Cool. And I want people to hear your beautiful voice as the gods intended. So why don't you go ahead and hit leave again, and then when that thing, real quick before you go, when you just paste, it should still be in the clipboard. Paste the URL into the top. Yeah, he already did it. So hold on. Yeah, you should be able to just paste the URL into the thing and hit return and come back in. Let me know if that is working or not. Oh, just paste into it. Yeah. See, you like this? This is it. And how pro is this? Is pretty damn pro. Okay. But yeah, if you missed it, there he is. Maybe it's better. But you were saying that you've done this kind of work with Mythic Legions to a certain extent, right? Before. And so you're helping to this is before Jeremy Gerard was on board, sort of the writer and keeper of the lore. You were doing that kind of stuff back then?
I was just basically copy editing and for Eric Treadaway.
Got it. So. And now you're doing that with this guy. So you were saying, if I heard you properly, what we just read is the pre-edited, and you're sort of in the process of editing.
Editing it.
Yeah,
so, and I use a very light touch because I want the creative person to, really get their lore in there. So I don't change very much. But since English is Jason's second language,
yes,
I'm able to help with that copying process a bit.
This is how indie toy lines get made, folks. Between Is here and Isra contributing some ideas, and you doing all these amazing, talented, these designs and the fan fiction. This is how things get done, and I'm here for it. So, is this image that I'm showing here? Is this going to be sort of the main logo and the things that we see that identify the brand?
Yeah, that's the main logo. That was made from a great artist, Mexican artist too.
Okay.
He's on Instagram. His name is Diego. Let me check his Instagram.
Yeah, when you get that, let me know and I'll find it and I'll drop it in the chat.
Diego Delgadillo.
Um, Delgadillo.
Delgadillo.
Gotcha.
Diego Delgadillo. He's the artist who made the logo for me. If you can see that.
Sorry, you said Delgadillo, yeah? Is it
Yeah.
because there's a couple of different things popping up? Diego Delgadillo 955?
No,
There's a lot
Diego
of
Delgadillo. Sí.
C. Got it.
Sí. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. He made the logo for me. Was the logo are based on the Mexica calendar.
Okay. Yep.
You can see the school on the center. And that inspired on the Mexica calendar, and you can see the heads of the first four sons on the in like a cross.
In your thing. Yeah, I'll take a look at that in a second, but this
Yeah.
is just a quick scroll through his work. Damn.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
Love it. And essentially here, I know this isn't the one from your logo, but essentially you're talking about the suns,
Yeah.
right? So 1, 2, 3, 4
Yeah.
from the calendar, as folks refer
Yeah.
to them, the Mexica
Right.
calendar. Yeah. So that's where the roots are. That's where the ideas are coming from. Here is the line, and you can kind of see them stylized here, right? So
Yeah.
can you run us through who's who? I know they're kind of cut off, but
Okay.
who is who from here?
Tezcatlipoca.
Uh-huh.
He's the Quetzalcoatl.
Uh-huh. Right here. And then
Tlaloc.
uh-huh.
Huitzilopochtli.
Nice. And then like
I
as you
I,
said.
I just upload a video from render from the first figure. You can
Yep.
show.
Yeah, the one that you sent me, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring that up. So you are in the progress right now of prototyping things and designing things. You've shared some of that on your Instagram, and we'll get to those in a second. But let's take a look at what you sent over. This is a print of a figure.
Oh yeah, that's the prototype.
Yep.
That was print from my friend Paris Escandon. Is the body. If you can see all the articulations that he has. To make this body, I use as inspiration Yada Toys. You from
Okay.
the last
Like
figures
Street
from
Fighter.
from Street Fighter. I use to make the waist and the butterfly joints, the double joint on the neck and the elbow. Was based to use to make this body, and some
Yep.
on the B Body Zero. I'm not pretty sure the company, but I use that body as inspiration too.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and
That's
switch.
very nice proportions on that.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to share it in a window so that I can maybe.
It kind of looks like what I
Do
see when
some-
I'm flexing in the mirror every morning.
Oh, is that pretty much what's going on?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Trevor was here earlier, noting your comedy stylings. So yeah. I thought I could zoom in, but I can't actually zoom in this either. But it's looking really great. So it's kind of great to hear you sort of share. Like, yeah, of course you're gonna be inspired by other toys that are out there, and you're looking at good ones. The Jada figures are fantastic. I have Sagat here somewhere, and so you're studying different figures. Yeah, is that DJ?
Yeah, DJ.
Wait, how? Okay, it's fine. I didn't realize he was in the wild, but I guess maybe in your neck of the woods he is.
Did you get that in the U.S. or Mexico?
No, Mexico. I got that here on Mexico.
Nice. Okay, so you've been doing the prototype. The figure looks great. would you mind again telling us a little bit about like the movement? Let me get us a visual. But what are you looking for in terms of articulation? What kind of
Okay.
joints are you going to break down
Well,
or having these things?
these figure are pretty articulation. He has a double neck joint, double elbow joint. The you can see the waist and the abs are a different separately part, and
Yeah,
the
so here
chest.
and here.
You can see the on the torso are three parts. The head have a double ball joint,
Okay.
and the butterfly joint no, are pretty articulated. I want to show the salvage Aztec figures. You know what I mean?
Savage. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Like
the
the
real the
muscles and just the
muscle,
movement.
the movement,
Mhm.
all you can use like posing with a predator or some like
Nice.
jungle figures.
Yeah.
That was my inspiration to make that body. I
Okay.
really love the figures can you that you can pose. Is the
Yeah.
mainly on a figure. I think. So.
Yeah. I love when figures can move and,
Yeah,
you know, do it all. And so that's really great. Like you said, that get into that sort of like, you know, brutal kind of fighting kind of thing. You started saying the torso, you've got the joint here that's, I'm assuming, a ball joint, a double like barbell.
yeah,
For the waist, will that also be on a ball
yeah. Yeah.
or more? Okay,
Has
not just barbell.
a ball joint on the waist and the chest.
Mhm. Got it. And we got a thigh cut here. We've got double knees. Is there from the
The armor.
knee down? What about the
Yeah,
knee down?
yeah.
Oops.
I sent you some pictures to some renders from the body, the body alone.
Okay, let's see. We'll just kind of cycle through. Some of these are on IG. I just wanted to get it here because I can get a little bit more control. These are looking great. As you know, as we're zooming by, and we'll get back to articulation. Can you name some of the characters that we're looking at?
Okay. He's Tezcatlipoca, the Jaguar god.
And
That is the same, but it has a second head, like to use a second version, like a army builder figure.
got it.
It's a Jaguar Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same. You only put off the chest armor and the head, change, and you have some
I
how
see.
an
Yep.
armor. Yeah.
Yep, unarmored. And there's the here. Yes, great. Okay, so the neck is part of the torso, but you're gonna have the movement here. Okay. That's a ball joint there. We've got the thigh cut double, and then on the ankles,
Yeah.
the joint is part of the foot. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, part of the foot. Yeah, but you can rotate to here on
Yep.
this.
Yep.
And
This way. Yep.
This way. All right.
Got it. So not quite a rocker.
I want, but that means other mold more. So
yes. More tooling. Yeah. More tooling, more money.
More money.
But this is where you're at this moment. The muscles are fantastic. Good job is on providing the 3D scans. But no, I really like the sculpt. Like it's just really a really good looking muscular body. And again, it's you know, it's very muscular and big, but not
too
I
much.
don't know, not quite like it's still a little bit thin, a little bit lithe, I guess. Like I don't know what you call it. Athletic.
Creatine, but not steroids.
Not me, basically. Sure, creatine, not steroids. Okay. I love this. This is all going to look great. But as we were looking at the characters, the armor and everything, then, because you mentioned to switch from the god version to the Jaguar sort of army builder, you simply take off the armor. So that means
armor,
But what about the bits on the arms? What comes off?
It can
Everything.
Everything. All are like an armor swap. You can swap it. I, as a customizer, I think
Mhm.
to on customize these figures, so you
Yeah.
can swap all the armor. To you can I will bring the base body and then make the armors, and you can swap everything.
Yeah.
So you can create new characters.
Yeah, Nolan saying looks really good, pretty good. Love the color scheme. The figure's well designed. You also, I think folks were kind of pointing out some other things about it. Really, really good stuff. Oops, I'll get to that in a second. So all the armor comes off. Looks really great. I really love the design of these things. Were you looking at any reference, like
Yeah,
historical reference
I
for
use
this?
some codex image to
Uh-huh,
make them.
uh-huh.
Uh,
Got it.
Let me show
Whew,
you
that's
one of them.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Nice.
the Mesoamerican people were really good at designing action figures before there were action figures, but a lot of anthropomorphic gods, you know,
100%.
like bat god
Let's see,
and
you can.
jaguars and
Yes. I'm familiar with this image. Love
eagles.
it. And
Yeah,
you can kind of see the paws there, the claws on it coming over his
Yeah,
wrist.
the
Looks
colors
great.
too.
it's a
Beautiful.
fierce,
Yeah.
ferocious.
I love it.
Tezcatlipoca.
Okay.
I'm just blown away by this. I just
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, and these weapons, right? Where like folks, I don't know how familiar they are, but this is essentially like stone, obsidian,
Yeah,
usually like little
yeah,
pieces,
yeah. Obsidian. Yeah,
brutal, sharp, and like
they,
I don't want to touch
they are
that.
basically either a volcanic stone.
Yeah, so
Uh,
sharp as glass.
Yeah,
Oof. And then look at the crown sort of head thing on this. The paint. Oh, beautiful stuff. So you mentioned there's the army builders and the gods, and we know from the lore, sort of the way you quickly broke it down, that in the fifth sun, in this era of the great battle, between essentially the different gods and their followers, yeah,
yeah.
and their armies of follow. So as far as these characters, and I'll keep cycling through, but is the main first wave going to be the four sons, the four gods, and then their army builder counterparts? Is there what do
You can
do
use
you have a thought?
as a minion. I have planning to make the when the people read the history, you can know about the each son, each era son has a people.
Yep.
The first era was the
Right.
world was
Mhm.
living giant people, giant people. The
Mhm.
second son was from ape peoples.
Yes.
The third son was for humans, but they later transform in some Sia people.
Mhm.
Uh, and
Underwater
yeah, the
more
world
people.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, sea world
Yeah.
people, right? The four son are governed by the fire. The sons of Huitzilopochtli are from the volcano.
Volcano. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the minions of each god. But on the future, I will make more. If I have successful with this, I have a lot plans
Okay.
from
So
this.
your initial plans will be the four, what I'm hearing at least right now is
Yeah,
the four
for
gods, and then
that's
that can swap out. They'll come with
yeah,
an alternate head to swap out to like do army
yeah,
builder. And then maybe in the future, some of their other, you mentioned like there are ape men here, there are volcano people, there are, like maybe that's a future thing
yeah.
you're thinking.
Yeah, for the and more gods. I
Yeah,
have
love it.
thinking on the I'm working now on Mictlantecuhtli, el señor
Mictlantecuhtli.
del Mictlán. El señor
Okay.
del Mictlán is the lord of the underworld.
Yeah,
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
David Salinas is saying, like a lot of us and a lot of folks are saying, I've always wanted something like this, and that's
Yes.
the thing.
Yes.
David's not alone. Clearly, is not alone. Even like you've got like Filipino solidarity, just fans of just this stuff. There are a lot of us that want this. That's the trick, is to make sure that folks know about it, because I think you're going to find people that don't necessarily buy Mythic Legions or action figures already that might be interested in what you've got going on and wanting to support this. I've shown this around to some of my folks here, some of them teachers, ethnic studies teachers. Like there's a lot of folks who are really, really excited to see something like this. Students who are like, oh, I know that. I'm familiar with that here in the mission. So, that's what we're going to do. As you start to share more, we're going to try and make sure that more people hear it. I think Isra was also telling me that at LegionsCon, our brief conversation, that a lot of the people that support him aren't even necessarily action figure people either, but they're in love with the work that he's doing around the Mexica culture stuff. So there's a lot of potential, and I'm really excited for it. But back to figures. ¿Quién es eso? Which one is this one?
Quetzalcoatl.
That's Quetzal. Okay.
Quetzalcoatl, the feeder snake, la serpiente emplumada.
Yes, I love it. And what's fun is that even in Mythic Legions, right, as we get now with the Reign of the Beasts, we're starting to see a little bit more of that influence and that cultural, like that sort of lore and being worked in, which I appreciate.
The N.E.W.S was the first one that came out, and then we're going to get Basilia, and we're going to get, some of those Eagle Warriors, and you're going to want to mix and all these together and play together, and it's going to be awesome. And I've been, 100%. Of course, pushing for this for a long time. Every time I get a chance to bend Eric Treadaway's ear, jump on his back and twist his arm and say, we need, Mesoamericans, we need Aztecs, we need Mexicas. So
you're getting it done.
Yeah,
you're getting it done.
It's happening. It's happening.
We're gonna.
So this is super exciting. It's super. Yeah,
great. It is, and help me out because I want to start. I don't want to jump on his back, but maybe you can for me. There's some great Filipino stuff that needs to happen too.
You have to educate me about that, and then I can beat.
Sure.
I can beat the drum for that to get. Yeah.
This is Tlaloc, yeah.
Yes. God of rain and storm.
Rain. Beautiful. And so I can only imagine, you don't have a colored render yet, but the feathers, like multiple colors, what do you have a sense of what
on this figure? The feathers will be on blue one and red one. The mask will be blue. The body will be blue because Tlaloc have a blue skin. You can see a lot of him, his symbols, the cloud and the water. That symbol that looks like a hand. That's mean atl. That means agua, water.
Agua, water.
Atl. In náhuatl.
In náhuatl.
Yeah.
Oh, look at these. This is going to be really great stuff. Can you talk to me about size? I know you've worked in parts for Mythic Legions. You've worked in parts for AWOC. What are you thinking height-wise compared to other lines? Is there a size that you're trying to mimic or fit?
I think that this was inspired more in what I have on the head than other lines, because I ever think about made that kind of bodies and made the cheapest way to make this possible are making like a set armors and heads and main body. So that's how I made this for the as I said. The body was based a little bit on the Yada body, on the Yada Toys body, and some of my head. Anatomy. I studied anatomy books since 5 years ago to make this this possible, and I think more on the customized people. The most of my followers are people who like customized figures, so for this line I think more on make that possible.
What about size though? How tall?
How tall he are? About 18 centimeters to the
So
ball
about
joint.
so close
Yeah,
to 7.
yeah, a little bit more taller than mythic legends. I can say like a savage crucible.
Okay. Are savages? Oh, where am I? I'm just looking around. Okay, so that you are trying to compare them, and I'm happy because that's my bread and butter. I love that
I have
size
a
versus like
render.
uh-huh.
I have a render beside Saba Mythic Legend figures, but I think that isn't good to share because
Yeah, I've heard that people don't like to kind of make those connections. But well, we'll talk because if I happen to take a picture next to them, but anyways, this is great, and this is the newest one that you revealed. You said this is
yeah,
your most recent. What's the name again?
wish stilo postly,
Wish which is
yeah,
based on the hummingbird. Yeah.
yeah, that's a
Mhm.
hummingbird. We name it here a colibri.
Yes, colibri.
Colibri. Yeah,
Um,
he's he's
The god of
loveworm.
war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the god of war.
yeah,
So
he looks
if you've ever
fantastic.
gone to war with a hummingbird, it's just they'll just poke your eyes out. They're ferocious. They fly around
And you won't even see it coming. They're so fast.
that's exactly.
I'm
You know,
excited, man. I know this is just a preview, and I appreciate you coming on to share a little bit. I know that there's a lot of work to do before then. Again, are you thinking 2026?
I think
What's your thought?
uh,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for first one. The first phase on this project is have all the prototypes finished. We
Yes.
are
Sure.
making
Sure.
the print test, and then I will send all the print test to the artist who will paint it,
Mm-hmm.
and then we are talking about the industry now. The toy industry are hard time from
Yeah.
because the tariffs and that stuff, and the
Sure.
most factories are on China.
Yeah.
So that is a handicap for us
Mhm.
project.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
we
So
are
you waited
talking
until.
wait to
Mhm.
the end of this year, maybe December of the years, to make the Kickstarter campaign.
Mhm, mhm. That makes sense. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, no politics," where I totally get, but I run this channel. So basically we're gonna wait till we get rid of the guy right now and get things back to some level of normalcy.
Maybe you can see the prototypes painted on Legends Con if
Uh,
one friend mine
ah,
can give to Legion Con.
yeah,
Maybe
that would be great to see. So Legions Con 2025 in November, maybe we'll be able to get some painted prototypes there. Do you have a sense of who might be, or you don't want to say yet whose table it might
I'm
be with?
talking with two of my friends,
Okay.
maybe Isra Mejorada
Yeah.
or other guy.
Sure.
We are talking.
Cool. That is going to be exciting. And so folks, stay tuned to to his personal Instagram, which we didn't get to spend too much time on because you've been doing, like, aside from this, the demon has been busy. You've been doing a lot of stuff. But in addition, go check out the Fifth Son Instagram, and you can kind of sort of see all of this stuff. This was just a thing that I tried to put together to kind of quickly go through that. So don't mind it. It's a real slimmed down version to get at the idea of what's going on. But check out Jason's Instagram. Check out the Rise of the Fifth Son Instagram. And again, all of that will be available at the URL that's coming on the bottom of the screen right over there, as well as the QR code that's way over there. Shortly after this, once I kick Is out of my house, I'll put the links together and to make sure that folks can find your stuff. But Jason, as things come in, if you ever want another, to come on and share some things, or if you just want to send things my way to share, I of course would be happy to share that with people here.
we have a lot plans and put the heart on this project.
Of course.
My Mexican heart are crying for this. So
Yes. Yeah.
I hope the people feel the representation that I put on this. All
Hmm.
my folks, Mexican, Chicano, and all the the community support this project. Was made for with heart for the Latin people and the
Yeah.
Mexican people, and I have a lot of plans for this. I'm just start with the first animal body. I want to show the first
Ooh.
one that I've been working on. Give me a second.
No, that's perfect because while you pull that up, Justin Mohan was asking, were there any beasts or creatures in Aztec
Yeah,
culture that could make
yeah.
its way to the toy
You can
line?
see
And
the
boom.
this is a jaguar,
Okay.
ocelot.
Yeah.
Say in Nahuatl,
Uh-huh.
we name an ocelot. Is
Ocelot
the
and
yeah, in Nahuatl.
yeah.
This will be the first animal. I'm working too on the lizard people
Ah,
and a lot of other figures. So please join on the Instagram account and follow us and support the project.
yes, for sure. And I do want to like highlight some of the folks that I know we kind of got caught up in the conversation, but check out is was breaking some stuff down, talking about beasts, right? So yes, Lots Cipatli was one of
Shpat,
the
biggest,
Chipatli Chipat was one of the
yeah,
biggest I'm not do you some
Monster?
maybe
monster. Yeah,
monsters after their creation that Quetzalcoatl and Tezcatlipoca would kill to create the first sun, essentially, and create people, right?
And
Yes,
what
that
I
that first battle very early on. Oh, it's gonna be
what
so
what
great
I
to see this.
also what I also want to say is we have a lot of
Oh,
people who really appreciate Mexican culture all over the world. People from
yes,
Europe who reach out. I have a group on Facebook called Sons of the Quetzalcoatl. If you want to come in, and people from all cultures, all races, um, that really just appreciate Mexican culture, and hopefully they can come out and help us, make this a reality.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. A lot of us are looking forward to this, and here's Shredder's Ooze saying, please share this around, folks. Let's get Jason's new line out there. That's exactly it. I'm often highlighting indie toy lines here, whether they're Kickstarters or they've been out, and just trying to, Hasbro doesn't need help. We know GI Joe. That's fine. Mattel doesn't need too much help. So while I love that stuff, I'd love much rather spend the time here talking about what you're doing, and all the other great indies. I really do think you're doing something special. As I'm hoping folks are catching on. It's new. It's not new. Like, we see this imagery all the time. As you said, people have been putting in custom stuff. We're going to start to get it in Mythic Legion, some sort of elements that inspire it. But this is homegrown stuff, clearly based on research and love for the lore, and thoughtful changes, because you're blending in some fantasy. So I'm here for it, man, and I appreciate you for coming on today.
thank you
Um,
so much.
I really appreciate
Thank you
this
for
guy.
inviting me into your home,
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
Welcome, dude.
your lovely
Yeah.
home, or
No,
allowing me to invite myself into your lovely
no,
home.
it was perfect. I appreciate it. It was really cool. And so thank you. And on that note, why don't you, as we sort of say our goodbyes, well, we know where to find Jason, we know where to see this stuff, but I also know that you are a busy guy creating content when you can. So let's add this to the stage. And come on, dude, let's go. Get out of here. Let's do this guy. Rocking that right there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
So
YouTube channel, the Adam Power channel.
yes. So what do we got go? Is there anything we can look forward to? I know you were starting to give us some stuff from the Mythic meetup that we worked on together. Is there anything else that might be coming down?
I've got a couple of reviews coming down the pike. I've got an ATL 25 on order. I have that really cool Zolocon exclusive skeleton warrior figure that I'm going to break out and review. That should be fun. And then just whatever comes my way. And we also have some of these really cool California Mythic meetup shirts left.
Hey.
So if anybody wants to hit me up, these are going to be $25. And this is a He-Mike design.
Nice.
So it's got California. It's got the Four Horsemen's horse skull there. And check them out. Very soft, high quality t-shirts. What's that?
Two things I'm laughing at. One, the soft quality. Three things, really. The second is thank you for also confirming that your body was used as the model for the Fifth Sun figures. The star, though, the red star on the eye of that.
Yeah.
Break that down.
This is a particularly clever part of the design. He-Mike made Sacramento, the capital of California, the red star in that eye. So that's what that signifies.
Yes, which is where you generally are around that area. Yes.
Yeah, that's my neck of the woods up near Sacramento.
Yep. Perfect.
Exactly.
And so
that's where we've had all three of our Mythic meetups.
Yep. And I really had a great time hanging out with you, doing some work, but also making this thing happen. And you mentioned He-Mike, who designed that logo. So check out the Atom Power channel. Here's a video from that show of actually He-Mike's table. If you're not familiar, go check out his skeleton kit, ogre scale skeleton kit that you might have seen right at the beginning here at the table. There's some really cool stuff that he's got going on. In addition, you've got this video where you got to hang out with David, who came out for the event, right? So you all did a little bit of video, did your thing.
He gave me a tattoo.
He did. It's a
temporary tattoo.
So check that out. I think that's on your Facebook, right? That's not on your Instagram.
That's on YouTube.
Oh no, but is it in here where you go through and actually show your awesome tattoo?
Yeah, I also put that video on my YouTube.
Okay,
well,
so. Got it.
And
it was great. Okay, so there it is. Oh yeah, this is where I saw it. Right here. Look at this epic man. David just did some of his best work.
You can see my magnificently sculpted calves there as well.
Exactly like the Fifth Sun model. Look at that. That Sir Gerard, man. And he's fast. That's all by hand. No stencils. Free hand. So shout out David Williams. That's great. All right. Let's get out of here, but check out the Atom Power channel. For me, obviously folks are here. So every Sunday, we do our thing here. I do the Needless Ephemeral We Saw the News. Talk about great stuff and great people like Jason's work and the Fifth Sun. Next week, I'll be hanging out with a fellow Pinoy, actually, 796 Studios. Mario, we're going to talk about his photo work, his custom work, his dia work, his flight stands, and just talk toys. So that's next Sunday, 3:45 Pacific. Again, Jason, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
Thank you for entering my home and not taking too much before you go, leaving me some good stuff. And thank you to everybody who came and hung out with us here on the stream. So, all right, folks.
Let's go.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios. Bye-bye. I'm supposed to do something like this. Here, let's hide our faces. We'll do that, and then I'll play some music, and we'll get out of here. Like that. All right. Set back for claim. The spirit of Huatemoc, alive and untamed. All right, folks, this is for the people of the sun. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.